Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I want to welcome you to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. We like to have intelligent, honest, unapologetically Black discussions. We like to talk about things that are going on in the Black community. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about something I saw today with Shaun King. Shaun King is an activist who does a lot of work. His work gets a lot of attention. He's very dedicated to that work. And he has lost over 100,000 followers this week. He says he lost 100,000 followers this week because he made comments about Barack Obama. He said something about Barack Obama that a lot of people felt that shouldn't be said, and he challenged Obama, and that has led a lot of people to not be loyal anymore. And so I thought I would kind of give my 2 cents on all this and Shaun King and everything else. So we're gonna get started right now on drboycetv.com. So buckle up your seatbelts. We're gonna take it in.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones too late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to co-sign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. I want to ask you guys, if you could, in the beginning, first of all, just know on this platform we are intelligent and Black, and we believe in the Black first philosophy. B1 means we put our community first. We don't care about anyone else's community until we focus on the issues of our own. We must turn inward, not outward, in order to be successful. If you agree with this philosophy, put hashtag B1 in the chat, hashtag B1 if you agree to put Black people first. We must do that. If you don't do that, then you shouldn't be here. This is not the platform for you. Now, hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, also hit the notification bell. We're building Black media, so please hit the notification bell. Very important. All right, so Shaun King. All right, so let me just do a quick straw poll on Shaun King. I've been following him for a while, and I've seen a lot of different opinions. About Shaun. So I'm going to ask you this. I've seen everything across the board. I've seen everything from people seeing him as a hero to people saying that they feel he's a complete fraud, to saying that he's good, that he's bad, etc. Now, let's use the good bad metric. Good bad. I don't want to use hero or fraud. Let's use the good bad metric. If you think Shaun King is good for the Black community, type good in the chat. If you think he's bad for the Black community, type bad in the chat. So the good bad metric. Throw it in there for me. I want to see what you guys are thinking. Hello, Sandy and Robert and Celeste and Valerie and Qua and Tiffany Brandon Stoner. I see you, Tiffany. Tiffany runs a great organization for single women dealing with cancer in Louisville, Kentucky, called Inga's House. You should make a donation, ingashouse.org. She was on drboycetv.com yesterday, and she really helped me to understand this important issue. A lot of single women are dealing with serious health issues, and I just, it grabbed my heartstrings to the point where I instantly made a donation. So I hope you guys will go and support Inga's House, INGES, ingashouse.org. All right, so I see Jason Rock says good, Tamitha good, Constance Carter good, Lamar Smith good, Tamitha good. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of goods. I saw a couple bads in the beginning, but I'm seeing a lot of goods. Okay, all right, good. Well, and that's the thing. I've watched Shaun, right? And I've watched him evolve through the years. He's now 41 years old. I've probably been watching the brother since he was 31. And I've seen him, I've just seen a lot. And also he's from Kentucky. I'm from Kentucky too. So that got my attention also. I'm from Louisville. I don't know what city he's from, but he's from Kentucky. And I'm going to go ahead and say that when I add up all the good and the bad that I've seen, I've always seen Shaun King as a net positive, right? A net positive. It doesn't mean that you can't. It doesn't mean that any accusation doesn't have credibility. I'm not saying that at all. But when I add up all the good, like a business, right? To know if a business is profitable, you're never going to have a business that never loses money. Every business has expenses. Every business has losses. But the way you decide if a business is good or bad or profitable or not is you take the revenue, you subtract the expenses, right? In a basketball game, you're going to miss some shots. The defense is going to score some points, but that doesn't mean you lost the game. The question is, did you score more points than the defense? Right? You don't even have to hit more shots than you miss. You can miss most of your shots and still win the game if you score more points than the defense. So with Shaun King, I came to the conclusion that he's a net positive. And I say this while fully, kind of describing it the same way I see some other things in the community, right? Social media has a lot of information that just kind of floats around about people, a lot of opinions, a lot of people they love to yap about things they don't know anything about, and or just love to find somebody who's doing well or who's successful and attack what they're doing, right? Social media is a very toxic place. There's toxic people. Sometimes there's just mental illness on full display. Sometimes people take personal beefs and make them into more than what they are, or they just end up, just saying, I'm going to attack that Negro because it'll get me views on my YouTube channel or whatever. I've seen all of that. So when I sort through all of this, I see Shaun King. He reminds me of that. There's a saying in China, and the saying is that the fattest pig always gets slaughtered. The fattest pig always gets slaughtered. And basically, Shaun King is a fat pig, to say that, not in a negative way, of course, but to say it in a way that says this brother has a big platform. I mean, he has, I think, 3 million people that follow him on Instagram. That's a big number. Shaun is impacting a lot of people, good and bad. And so here's the thing. With Shaun King, he recently got a lot of flack for challenging Barack Obama. Anybody remember? Give me a yes or no in the chat if you remember last week what Obama said about defunding the police. Does anybody remember Obama's comments about defunding the police and basically saying you're going to lose a lot of people when you talk that way, or you lose an audience when you say things like that? Anybody remember that? Give me a yes or no if you saw that. Yeah, okay. A.G. Bradford says that he saw that. Okay. All right. So give me a yes or no. Let me know if you saw, so I can know if everybody's up to speed. So Obama basically, is a guy that he's also in that good bad category in my mind. I think he was a net positive for America. He was very presidential. He was a very good, intelligent, articulate president. There's a lot of good symbolism there from Obama's presidency, but there wasn't a lot of substance to me. Was he good for the black community? I don't know. If you saw him as just, okay, he's another white guy in the White House who happens to have a black daddy, then that's okay. Then that means he was a net positive. But if you see him as some solution for black people, if you see him as a solution for the black community, then that's where I beg to disagree with you. It's almost like if you have a child that has an absentee parent who's the perfect parent, but they're never home. Well, that's not a good parent. Right? I'd rather have a mediocre parent who was there to feed me every day, who cared about me, who knew what was going on in my life, than to have a great parent who only saw me at Christmas and birthdays. So Obama was kind of like the great parent who only saw black people on Christmas and birthdays. If he was a guy who was completely dedicated to the black community, put all his intellect and resources into the black community, took all that, $200, $300, $400 million him and Michelle are making, and put that into building the black community, and put all of his political capital into the black community, put all of his connections and everything, and pressured them to go and support the black community, then Obama could be the greatest black man in the history of this world. There's no question about it. But because he's diluted, because he's out there sort of doing everything for everybody all the time, he unfortunately becomes this absentee parent. That doesn't mean he's a bad parent. That just means he's absent, right? And the black community has a problem with a lot of absentee parents. We have a lot of black people on prominent positions, on prominent thrones, hoisted up by white people, and you give them all this validation and credibility and love and support and respect because you're a white supremacist, because you believe that white people acknowledging that person makes them better than you. And I learned to flip that. To me, if white people acknowledge you, that doesn't mean as much to me as when black people acknowledge you. So I'm not looking for you to be hoisted up by white people. I'd like the black folks that are hoisted up by black people, intelligent black people who can critically think, who are kind of understanding what matters in the community, be one type people, etc. So Shaun King, his challenge to Obama, I didn't think it was unreasonable. He was basically saying, I mean, in so many words, I mean, he probably maybe he said it harshly or, things like that, but he was basically saying, no, you can defund the police. No, that's BS. Like, what are you talking about, man? Like this is crazy. Like you're basically saying that defund the police is a bad slogan and things like that. Now, there's nothing wrong with what Shaun said. Shaun proved he laid out numbers. He explained, for example, that if you cut, I forgot how much money out of the New York City police budget, he said their budget would be exactly what it was 5 years ago. Right? Defunding the police is not a radical concept. It is not insane. It's not ridiculous. Anybody who knows the history of police, and I know my father was a police officer for 25 years. I've been deeply in tune with mass incarceration because black men are the ones they love to lock up the most. Joe Biden's crime bill locked up more black men than anybody else. And I still ain't forgave him for that. I'm sorry. I know y'all might be for some forgive and forget Negroes, but I can't forgive you. You locking up my loved ones. I'm come get you. I'm a dislike you forever. Ain't gonna be no like, oh, we shall overcome, kumbaya, bring your Bible to church, let's eat barbecue chicken with the pastor and everything's okay. No, I'm going to hold that on my shoulder until the day they put me in the grave. Seriously. So I'm not in your constituency. I'm not in your support group. So mass incarceration, very important. Police have been militarized over the last 30, 40 years. People know this since the war on drugs began, which was really a war on black people. It was really a war on black people. They started giving the police weapons and tools and all kinds of arsenals that you would use when you're trying to go occupy another country, when you're trying to invade a nation. Like after the wars are done, and they're like, well, what do we do with all this military spending? We got these extra AR-15s and silencers and we got these tanks that can bust through doors and we got these armored vehicles. What do we do with it? Oh, let's give it to the police department so they can help us take out the Negroes, right? Which was, you can call it the Negro Extermination Project. That's really what it was, right? That's what it became, and they were very successful. That's why a lot of y'all didn't grow up with a daddy in the house. That's why a lot of young black women can't find a decent husband right now, because they succeeded. Joe Biden and his crew succeeded in the extermination of black people, and we're in a rebuilding phase. The problem is they didn't kill us; they only made us stronger. And so in about 30 years, we're going to come back stronger than ever. But it's going to take time. We're rebuilding. We're engaging in a Black Marshall Plan. We are rebuilding our community without their help. Without their help. Now I'm not going to get mad at you for not helping me, but I'm not going to forget that. Like, you show up and you ask me for support as if you actually helped me, I'm going to say, well, no, we did this, we rebuilt this, we made this happen, we made it through the storm, but it wasn't because of you. When we ask you to talk about reparations, all you talk about is vaccinations. The word reparations might sound a little bit like the word vaccinations, and you might be stupid enough that you think that those words are the same. But no, I asked you about reparations. You up here talking about vaccinations. Well, we don't know what reparations are, but we got the vaccine for y'all, and because we love black people so much, we want y'all to take it first. No, how about you inject that in your own ass first, and then if you don't die after a 5 year period, I might think about trying this vaccine too. Seriously, I mean, why don't you take it first? Because in this case, I'm gonna be a white supremacist. In this case, white people first. No disrespect to the white people listening. I don't hate you, but if you're really that determined to take a vaccine for, by the way, for something that literally will have a 99.9% survival rate, like 99.9% of us will survive. In Europe, they had the Black Plague. The Black Plague killed like a third of Europe. Okay, in that particular case, then a vaccine is certainly called for. But for 99.9% of us are going to survive, personally, I'm not taking no shot with some shit in it where I don't know what the hell y'all done did with that. When y'all ain't never, you ain't come up with a vaccine for HIV. You ain't got a vaccine for cancer. You can't even cure the common cold. But suddenly you got a COVID vaccine in what, 6 months? Okay, good for you. Congratulations. Go get your money, but it won't be coming from me. So, so let's just be clear. Black people are talking about economic justice. Black people are talking about things like reparations. And when they show up and you're asking about one thing and they're giving you something else, that's a problem. And unfortunately, and this is where I tend to lean in the direction of supporting the Shaun King on this, is that I like the guy Shaun King. Here's the thing: I don't agree with Shaun King's. Except I think he's a little further to the left than me. Right? I'm more of a black nationalist. I'm big on family. I'm big on building businesses. I'm big on black people owning and controlling resources as a key to are achieving whatever we want to achieve. I don't believe white people got a whole lot to do with nothing that happens in my community. If I have my say, it ain't no disrespect. It just means, like, if Asian people are trying to be Asian, they don't need white people to teach them how to be Asian. Like, don't tell me what it means to be black. Don't tell me that you're gonna educate me. Don't tell me you're gonna give me a job. Don't tell me you're gonna feed me media. I don't need none of that. Just like Asian people, and I don't think Asian people need anybody. The black people should not be or can't be over there telling Asian people how to be Asian. So nobody needs to be telling black people how to be black. So my argument is, rather than you creating programs for us and then distributing that to us, or building schools for us where where you're running the school and we're sending our kids to the school, but we have a better school, right? Or you creating companies for us that we go serve as your employees. How about you just write the damn check and let us administer this on our own? How about you cut the check? Hashtag cut the check. Put hashtag cut the check in the chat. Hashtag cut the check, and then we can form our committees, we can hire our teachers, we can build our businesses, we can decide what our media is going to look like, we can build our own community. But you don't do that because you don't want to let go of the power, because black people are your puppies. We are your we're your little infant children that you control, and you manage them like sheep. You make money from us just like a pimp makes money from his hoes. We are the ultimate hoe. We are your bottom bitches. That's what we are. Black people are the bottom bitches of white supremacy, the bottom bitches of the Democratic Party. We're the bottom bitches of corporate America. We're the bottom bitches of the educational system. We're the bottom bitches of any racist person in the Democratic or Republican parties. And some of us like that role. Some of us like that role because we don't know any different. We don't understand how pimping works, right? So here's the point. Here's where I'm going with this. So let's get back to Shaun King. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up, share, and subscribe button. Also, please hit the notification bell. That's really important for us to stay connected. Also, if you want to get text notifications, you can text the word Boyce to 31996. Text Boyce to 31996. So, Shaun King, he's more to the left than I am. I'm not a liberal. I'm just not. I'm not a Democrat. I voted Libertarian because I can't vote Republican, because Republicans got too much baggage. Maybe 40 years from now, maybe when I'm in my 80s, I'll vote Republican or something after they get all that racism out of the system. You can't be defending Confederate flags and stuff and get my vote. I can't do that. But here's the thing: even though Shaun King is further to the left than me, even though Shaun is a guy who has said things where I'm like, oh man, come on. He's into into the Bernie Sanders stuff. I'm not a big Bernie Sanders guy. Bernie Sanders, by the way, is another guy who won't support reparations, right? They're in this whole like Marxist, you know, Marxist fog of like this weird egalitarian society that'll never exist, in my opinion. I'm more pragmatic than that in certain areas. I believe people are always going to compete, but that's okay though, right? Because here's the thing. Here's where Shaun King and I can be friends. I believe in this thing that a lot of people don't believe, which is called freedom of speech. I believe in freedom of expression. I believe that you are better off when you're hearing from people that disagree with you than you are when you hear from people who agree with you. I'm a fan of that, right? I'm not challenged or threatened if your ideas are different from my ideas. So with Shaun, I just say, okay, the guy seems to be like he's trying to do something good for the world. He seems to be trying to help people. And that to me makes him net positive, a net positive for black people. He also focuses on the black community. He shouts out, Malcolm X on a regular basis. He shouts out a lot of black history that a lot of folks don't know, and I like it too because he's able to kind of do it in a way where a lot of those so-called white liberal allies really love him too, and I think that's cool. I'm not that guy. I'm not the guy. White people see me and they run. I make them very, very nervous. I have to explain to my white friends, look, I'm not mad at you. Don't let your guilt make you afraid of me. I just love my people. But Shaun does a little bit better than me. He's more articulate in that way in terms of being a bridge builder. And I thought that his comments about Obama were right on point. Obama is a guy who's very smart. I don't think he's a complete yokehead. I don't think he's garbage. But Obama is, just like I tell you guys, I am not a finance professor who happens to be black. I'm a black man who happens to be a finance professor. Barack Obama is not a black man who happens to be a Democrat. Pay attention now. He is a Democrat who happens to be a black man. Obama is not a black man who happens to be a Democrat. He is a Democrat who happens to be a black man. So the same way I say B1, Obama wakes up every morning and says D1. We are B1. He is D1. So that means that it doesn't mean that he hates black people. It doesn't mean he's going to deliberately sabotage the black community. It just means that when black people show up and say, well, this is what we want. But then a powerful Democrat calls up and says, no, this is what we need from you. He's going to listen to them and he's going to ignore you. Right. And so I thought that Shaun King's challenge to Obama, and the defund the police issue, the broader criminal justice issue, it's something that does affect black people, and I think it's something that's relevant and important to pay attention to, right? It wasn't done perfectly, right? Again, when you talk about Black Lives Matter, the big challenge with Black Lives Matter is somehow they got to this weird point where the only time black people are dying is from COVID or police brutality, and that bothered me because I said, no, black people are dying all over the place. There's a lot of ways black people are dying. Why are you only focusing on COVID and police brutality? Well, because they are D1. They're Democrats who happen to be black. So basically, Black Lives Matter, which I believe is an LGBT front organization, to be honest with you, it's also a Democratic Party funnel group. Their goal is to say, how do we create the black branch, the black gay branch of the Democratic Party? Right? It's okay. It's okay to be black and gay, right? There's gay people everywhere, right? That's fine. But that's not a top priority that all of us can identify with. That's not something that we're going to put ahead of rebuilding the black family. So when you start off on your website and you say our goal is to destabilize the nuclear family, well, shit, you about 25 years late. Joe Biden already did that. Joe Biden did that when he put that $10 billion out and said, let's go build hundreds of prisons and then let's use rap music to promote prisons so black men will engage in criminal behavior deliberately. Then let's put 100,000 cops on the street. He destabilized the black community like crazy. So why do we need more destabilization of the nuclear family after we've spent 25 years watching them do that? That's done. That's done. So here's the deal. When you're talking about defunding the police, that is one of those issues that legitimately overlaps into a concern for black people. A lot of black people have a very unfortunate, very unhappy, very unhealthy relationship with police. Black men, I've even told black men, don't even talk to a cop because you simply engaging with a cop on any level put your life at risk. Because the minute he grabs you and tries to put your hands behind your back and you pull your arms away, the next thing you know, they're charging you with assaulting a police officer. Right. So basically, that issue is very, very deep. It's very, very important. Now, what defund the police needs to expand into, though, is you need to go deeper down that rabbit hole. Stop just focusing on the black guy who gets shot by the cop and focus on all the black men who didn't get shot by the cops. All the black men and women as well who didn't get killed before they went to court and got put in front of a jury of white people and had their mother sitting in the stands crying as they watched their son get an 80-year prison sentence for some shit he did not do because he could not afford a lawyer. Right? Like, say, sister, let's go deeper. Let's also look at what happens when he goes to prison and he's being beaten and raped every day and traumatized, infected with STDs, getting sick, getting mistreated by guards, being left uneducated, being injected with more mental illness. And then maybe if he gets lucky enough to get out 20 years later, they're dumping this broken, disease, sick person onto the black community. This is not in any way, I'll make this 100% clear. This is not in any way to disparage those who've gone through the system, right? I don't want to say, I'm not saying that at all. What I'm talking about is this is some shit that really happens in these prisons. These prisons are terrible. These prisons are torture chambers. Like, just so you can let me know you hear me. Like, I'm really begging you to really hear me. Don't just say amen. Like I need you. Like let's everybody type the word torture in the chat if you hear what I'm saying. Prisons are torture chambers. They are sending your people away to be tortured. Many of them are dying. Many of them are going, and then the ones who die are the lucky ones. Sometimes it's the lucky ones who die. The survivors are the ones who got to live with that nightmare over and over again. Some of y'all have relatives who've gone to prison. Some of y'all got people in your family in prison right now. Say their name in the chat so that they know that they're not forgotten. Say their name. Type their name in the chat. It's very important. That's how you bring people back to life. That's how you bring the ancestors back. That's how you connect with people. That's how you let them know that they matter. When people use terms like Black Lives Matter, like they just say it like it's a damn McDonald's commercial. No. To me, Black Lives Matter means that it really matters. That means you really go to the heart of the issue. Prisons are torture chambers, and they're doing this to our people on mass scale, on an industrial level. So with Shaun, I love the fact that Shaun spoke up honestly about the fact that 100,000 people have left his social media platforms because of his comments about Obama. He was very, articulate in terms of explaining that he doesn't let people's opinions shape how he feels about himself or how he feels about his mission. I respect that because I understand that too. When I was 25 years old and I started writing articles on race at the University of Kentucky, it was a double-edged sword. On one hand, I had a lot of people, everybody read my articles, everybody read the articles. About 10% of the people who read them agreed with me and they liked what I was saying on race. 90% of the people hated my guts because University of Kentucky is a very racist school. They had a lot of racist white kids who would send me death threats and all kinds of crazy stuff. And I learned at that time, though, that it wasn't just the people who hated you that could drive you crazy. It was the people who loved you that could drive you crazy. Because some people love you because they love truth. Some people love you because they just love the way you think. Some people love you because you're providing a perspective that they can appreciate. But then some people just love you because you're saying what they want to hear. Some people love you because you happen to have you agree on a certain issue, and then when you don't agree, when you say something that they don't like anymore, suddenly you become enemy number one. Oh, we canceling you. F you, man. I thought you was real. Man, I always been real. I'm being real with you right now, and the realer I get, the more stupid you get. Seriously, if you think I'm real, then why do you have a problem when I'm real and I'm honest with you? But you love me when I'm saying what you want to hear. So I think that with Shaun King, he was being real. He was being true to purpose. Shaun King has always been a believer in defunding the police, and he ain't gonna change his opinion just because Barack Obama, King Barack, came out and said something different. Like, what kind of sucker would he be? Seriously, he would be a complete sucker. Shaun King would be a bitch if Shaun King was to be like, well, Barack Obama says that defunding the police is a bad idea, so that's what I'm gonna believe now too. Right? Get out of here with that nonsense. So really, I like the fact. See, here's the thing, and believe me, take it from a guy who is consistently shedding and losing followers every week. I kid you not. I look at my Instagram analytics one time. It said 3,000 new people followed you this week. 2,000 people left your page. and and my opinion on that is good riddance because if you're walking away because I disagree with you on something or because I think that Joe Biden is a bigot or whatever it is, then we were never friends to begin with because no person who's B1 is ever going to stop their relationship with another black person because of a white man in the White House. Like you too far gone for us to be friends anyway, and it was inevitable. It was going to happen anyway. So sometimes the cleansing process can be a very healthy experience in terms of being liberated because the thing about it is that when you're on a platform like Shaun has, you can be, if you're not careful, you can be enslaved and entrapped, not by the people who hate you, but by the people who love you. You can be trapped to the point where if you get too caught up in what people think, you'll be afraid to tell the truth because you'll be like, well, they won't like it if I say this. They won't like it if I say that. So the best approach to a lot of this, and this is advice to anybody who wants to speak on a public platform, is you have to really start in the beginning by basically saying, like repeating to yourself, I don't give a fuck. Right? You have to be willing to say that, and it doesn't mean that you have to be rude. It doesn't mean that you have to deliberately and unnecessarily alienate people. It doesn't mean you have to attack people who because they disagree with you. Right? Like you can allow people to have their perspective, but when people start infringing on your right to freedom of speech, you have to basically say, I'm sorry, we don't do that here. If this doesn't make you happy, you can go. And I reiterate that to anybody who's not sure. That's why that is absolutely 100% why my platform will only grow so much because I'd rather have quality than quantity. Sometimes you can have a whole lot of followers and they're just not good people, or they're dumb people or shallow people, and that's not fun. That's not how you get things done. It's the sharpest steel that cuts through the rock, not the dull butter knife. Right? I don't want dull butter knives follow me. I need the sharpest steel. So you either got to be sharp or you got to want to be sharper. So either way, you're gonna have to submit to that concept. If you can't commit to wanting to be sharper, then it ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work. So I will just say congratulations to Shaun. I think that that statement was well put. He's 100% right that defunding the police makes sense. Barack Obama said what he said because he's a Democratic Party guy, and he's trying to basically control folks to make sure that the Democrats don't get pulled too far to the left to the point where they start losing elections. And really, if you think about it, that's actually a very rational approach to all of this. The Democratic Party's biggest problem is that they have different factions and different elements who want different things. So they have black people saying we want reparations, so their goal is to suppress that voice. They've got people on the far left who are saying that they want, more socialist ideas implemented in this country, and which are not bad ideas, by the way. Like if you can't be 100% capitalist, 100% socialist. So some of the ideas are good. America's a little bit too capitalist, so some of their ideas should be on the table. But their goal is to manage all that so they can be centrist enough to win elections. They learned this back when Bill Clinton ran. Bill Clinton was a Democrat who, in many people's eyes, pretty much ran as a Republican. He just called himself a Democrat, and that's how he got elected. His policies were straight out of the Republican playbook. He basically hijacked Republicanism and said, no, but I'm a Democrat. I'm a liberal. He wasn't no damn liberal. And the liberals knew that. So Shaun is right. Shaun is there. I like the fact he's putting the pressure on him. I think he should keep doing that. And Shaun, if you hear any of this, I congratulate you, brother. I think that what you're doing is good. And I don't care what anybody says. I all the stuff that I see, all the craziness and the scandals and all that stuff. But I think that, again, it goes back to what I said in the beginning. It's not about a person being perfectly good or perfectly bad. It's when you add up the good, all the good that they do, and you add up all the bad that they do, and you say which stack is higher. And does the good outweigh the bad? With Shaun King, I think the good outweighs the bad. And I think millions of people know that. So that's why he's successful. So, by the way, guys, I'm going to get out of here. But if you want to listen to me on audio, I actually have a Spotify podcast, the drboycebreakdown.com. You can go check it out there. Feel free to go to the Dr. Boyce Breakdown. And actually, I just saw the other day that Shaun King has something where he calls it the breakdown. I didn't know that. I didn't know he called his thing the breakdown. I learned that literally Tuesday. But I've always talked about the Dr. Boyce Breakdown. So if you want to go to Spotify, you can listen to me on audio there. And so feel free to go do that. And also, you can follow me on Instagram. My real Instagram, where I talk a lot of my crazy stuff, is actually The Real Boyce Watkins. But we also have the Black Financial Channel. Here we go, The Real Boyce Watkins. That's it. Okay, guys. So do me a favor. If you could, please hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button before we head out of here. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you'll be notified when we go live again. And thank you guys for listening. And I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.